Now at 5, a change in a Missouri law concerning Halloween and sex offenders. Plus, a disaster drill at the Joplin Airport and
former President Donald Trump's former chief of staff is sounding the alarm less than 2 weeks from Election Day. I'm Natalie Brand with how the Trump campaign is pushing back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This Halloween, registered sex offenders in Missouri will no longer be required to post a sign stating no candy or treats at this residence. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. The signs were previously part of a statute that also requires sex offenders to avoid Halloween contact with children, remain in their home from 5 to 10:30 p.m., and leave all outside residential lighting off that night. But a U.S. district judge ruled this month the sign requirement violates the First Amendment by forcing compelled speech. The Jasper County Sheriff's Department now says it has a resource on its website that might help families feel better about where they trick-or-treat this year.
There's a link for sex offender information and a mapping system provided by the Missouri Highway Patrol website. And in this link, they can check neighborhoods or certain addresses to see if a sex offender lives there or not.
The change to the law has some parents concerned. Tonight on KOAM News at 6, we're going to speak with one mother who believes the change takes away a safeguard for children. Might have looked real, but it was just a drill. The Joplin Regional Airport today conducted a full-scale emergency exercise. It was aimed at preparing local emergency responders and airport personnel in case of an aviation-related emergency. We're going to have much more on this story for you tonight at 10. The organization One Joplin today hosted a poverty simulation. It gave everyone in the community an opportunity at least to experience a simulated month of living in a low-income situation. In the simulation, every 15 minutes represents a week of living in poverty. The participants are given a family situation. Based on that, they have to navigate everyday life like budgeting for groceries and transportation.
We hope the simulation helps people to just have a better understanding and a level of empathy for individuals that are working really hard but are in a low income situation, and that our policymakers, our employers, our decision makers, that they may be able to take a step back and ask questions.
More than 80 people participated today, and going forward, they hope to make it an annual event. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy now for our first look at the weather.
Well, of course, another warm one for us today, but not near as warm as what we did see yesterday. We had a cold front that rolled through, so wind switched out the other direction. 80 in Joplin is where we stand, 77 in Pittsburgh, still a good 10 degrees above where we should be for this time of the year. 75 in Nevada, and then on the other end, you got Anderson at 84, Grand Lake 86, Iola is sitting at 75. Northeasterly winds, breezy. We've had gusts at times 20, upwards to about 25 miles per hour. Through the evening, 70s, 60s will bottom out, upper 50s later on tonight. But clear skies, not a whole bunch going on right now. There's a few clouds down near Oklahoma City, and that is a very weak little wave that will head toward us later on tonight, giving us some clouds and some spotty showers across the region. We'll talk more about that here in a bit.
All right, we'll see you soon. With less than 2 weeks now until Election Day, the candidates are in the battleground states. The Trump campaign is dismissing an interview Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, gave to the New York Times. Natalie Brand has the latest from the campaign trail.
The Trump campaign is pushing back against a New York Times interview with the former president's chief of staff, John Kelly.
He's certainly an authoritarian, admires people who are dictators. He has said that. So he certainly falls into the general definition of fascist, for sure.
The retired general also said Trump demands loyalty to himself over the Constitution, and in response to Trump's recent comments about using the military against domestic opponents, Kelly said advisors repeatedly told Trump not to do that.
Originally, the conversation would be, Mr. President, that's outside your authority, or, that's a routine use. You really don't want to do that inside the United States. But now that he's talking about it as "I'm going to do it" is again, it's disturbing.
A Trump campaign spokesperson dismissed the interview and told The Times Kelly had, quote, beclowned himself.
Back in August, Trump called Kelly, quote, dumb and a weak bully. Last night on the campaign trail, the former president made more disparaging comments about other retired generals who served in his administration.
What a stupid group of people they were. Mattis, Milley.
Told of Kelly's remarks, Trump supporters expressed skepticism.
Did he run this country as a dictator the 4 years he was in? Absolutely not.
But Vice President Kamala Harris warned there would be no one to rein Trump in during a second term.
People like John Kelly would not be there to be the guardrails against his propensities and his actions.
This morning, her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, cast his ballot along with his son Gus, who voted for the first time. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Tomorrow, former President Barack Obama will rally with Harris at a campaign event in Atlanta. Joplin High School students will get the chance to experience what it means to cast their vote come Election Day. The High School Student Council is creating a mock ballot that has the same candidates and questions as the Missouri ballot. On Election Day, the students will go to the polling location within their school to cast their votes. While the votes don't actually count, teachers say it can help students get excited come Election Day.
Part of the goal of a government class in high school is to ensure that we have knowledgeable citizens who are able to make informed decisions when they go to vote, so that we can hopefully move in a productive direction as a country.
We learned at the school that whatever way the students vote very often tends to align with the outcome of the election. Still ahead, tension in the air.
A new survey shows Americans are stressed. I'm Dina Demetrius with Ways to Cope.
Plus a startling stat about hypertension in the U.S. Those stories next in Health Watch. Topping today's Health Watch, researchers say they're learning more about why COVID is so infectious. A study by Kobe University found the coronavirus has an enzyme that counteracts our body's innate immune system. Knowing about this enzyme could help researchers develop more effective treatments for COVID in the future. Nearly half of all Americans have hypertension, also known as high blood pressure. A national survey from the CDC found 47% of adults have the treatable condition, which increases the risk for heart attack and stroke, and 70% of adults over age 60 have it. The study also found that only 1 in 5 hypertension patients has their blood pressure under control. With Election Day less than 2 weeks away, a new survey shows Americans are stressed about the future of the nation, the economy, and that presidential election. Dina Demetrius has more on how to cope.
Andrew Payton says he's stressed.
It doesn't help to have your phone buzzing with like headlines and stuff, so there's always like kind of like a background radiation of stress happening.
It's something many Americans are feeling as Election Day approaches.
I do believe a lot of it, for my own personal stress, does trickle down from the political landscape of the last several years.
According to the American Psychological Association, more than 7 in 10 adults say the future of the nation is a significant stressor, with the economy and the 2024 presidential election right behind.
Over 70% of people are concerned about election violence or violence coming out of the election, and over half saying that they are concerned that this election could mean the end of democracy. And what's striking about that is that both Democrats and Republicans are not that different on those two issues.
Dr. Arthur Evans says despite the stress, more than 60% of adults are feeling hopeful about the change this election will bring. Health experts say it's important to find ways to cope with stress, and that starts with eating right, exercising, and getting enough sleep.
For election-related stress, being engaged in the political process is an important way to manage our stress. Limiting the amount of information that you're taking in, particularly when you're tired, is also another very important coping strategy.
Steve Pineda is already taking that advice.
I don't really follow the media much. I don't have much of social media. In fact, I have no social media. Faith is the number one thing and what keeps me central.
Finding balance between being informed and not overwhelmed. Dina Demetrius, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Survey also shows more than half of Americans hope this election will lead to a more inclusive society. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, our pet vet on call.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eva Dudek from Parsons Pet Hospital. Coming up, we got a fun fact about spiders.
Plus, we have some rain chances in the forecast. We're going to be checking that out coming up. Well, it turned out to be a great Wednesday for us today. Temperature is fantastic, about 10 degrees cooler, 8 to 10 degrees cooler than what we had yesterday after record highs, but still, we're 10 degrees above where we should be for this time of the year. Great shot. This is our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, so we do have about a 10-degree spread. We had a cold front that rolled through earlier, so you got mid-70s northern counties, you got mid-80s once you get into our southern counties. Here's 7th. Here's range line sitting at 80, northerly winds about 5 to 10, but we've been getting gusts at times near 20. Now the winds are backing down a little bit compared to what we saw this morning, and this is due to a warm front heading toward us, so they're going to switch out of the other direction as we go into Thursday afternoon. And it's going to get windy again tomorrow. We're going to have winds gusting 25, 30, maybe 35 at times, especially in our western counties. Then here we go again. Another cold front drops through on Friday, so the winds switch out of the north, staying kind of breezy once again. So our wind forecast, this is kind of a knocked over trash can type of situation for us as we go into Thursday afternoon, but it is going to stay on the breezy side. Also, some rain chances, a little bit, a few isolated showers in here late tonight and tomorrow morning, and then some scattered thunderstorms get in here Thursday night into Friday morning. So at least we are looking at some chances for rain. Right now it's clear. There's nothing going on across the entire Central Plains. We do have some clouds picking up in central Oklahoma, and that's that weak little wave that's going to head toward us later on tonight. Clouds will thicken after midnight, and you can see a few little spotty showers try to pop up after 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning into the early morning hours, and then push off toward the east. Back near 80 by noon. Once we get into the afternoon, 87, 88, 89 degrees, so near record highs once again. Here comes our front tomorrow night. Scattered thunderstorms along the front. These will die as they push in, but we should get some scattered showers and a few scattered thunderstorms pushing through the region. These storms could be a little bit stronger just to our west, out near the I-35 corridor. So we'll start the day on Friday with some clouds and a few showers, and then these will push out of here. Front drops through, and we get another pretty nice day by the time Friday rolls around. All right, so a random shower in the morning, 80 by noon, 87 for an afternoon high. Let's jump into Friday evening. 4-State, Friday night, high school football, 70 at kickoff. By the fourth quarter, 60 degrees. So we get fantastic weather as we go into Friday for high school football. Weather looks good all the way into the weekend. We're looking at our upper level pattern or upstairs in the atmosphere. But what I like seeing here is we are getting storm systems dropping in the western third of the country. We are getting into a more active pattern, meaning more rain for you as we go through the next few weeks. 87 on Thursday, 78 Friday, 74 Saturday, back to 80 on Sunday. But look at those rain chances sneaking in second half of next week, which is good. So we have a couple chances this week and several chances next week.
I'm not going to complain about rain chances. We would prefer it didn't rain on Halloween evening.
That's true.
There's a little window if we would like to get
that is
clear.
True.
We'll have to look at that. Doug, thanks. The latest on the investigation into dozens of E. coli cases linked to some McDonald's restaurants ahead. Topping today's Consumer Watch, the CDC says some McDonald's Quarter Pounders could be making people sick. Burgers from some locations have been connected to more than 4 dozen E. coli infections. At least one person has died. More than half the infections were reported in Colorado, but there have also been cases in Missouri and in Kansas. Nancy Chen looks at what McDonald's is doing about it.
It's the world's largest fast food chain with more than 40,000 restaurants serving billions of burgers worldwide every year. But now investigators are working to confirm the food source that made dozens sick. The CDC says that 49 people have been infected with E. coli so far, and most reported eating a Quarter Pounder from McDonald's before falling ill. McDonald's says it's pulled the burger from menus in impacted locations and that it's linked a subset of cases to slivered onions sourced from a single supplier, which serves 3 distribution centers.
Other beef products at McDonald's, including the cheeseburger, hamburger, Big Mac, McDouble, and the double cheeseburger, are not impacted.
So far, 1 death has been linked to the outbreak. 10 people have been hospitalized, including a child who developed severe kidney complications.
People can get really sick from this. The symptoms include diarrhea, which could be bloody, abdominal cramping, vomiting, fever, and you can get severely dehydrated.
The same E. coli strain caused 4 people to fall ill and die after an outbreak impacted dozens of Jack in the Box restaurants in the early 90s. Food safety advocate Darren Detweiler's 1-year-old son was among them.
I would imagine that the conversation around food safety is going to change within the industry after the news of McDonald's outbreak, not because of the ingredient, not because of the specific pathogen or the numbers, but because of that idea of no company is immune.
In a statement, McDonald's says it's working to replenish supplies of the Quarter Pounder in the coming weeks. It added the company will continue to cooperate with the CDC as it works to restore its full menu. Nancy Chen, CBS News, New York.
Now, of those at least 49 known cases so far, the CDC says 1 has been reported in Missouri and 1 in Kansas. The IRS has announced its new inflation-adjusted tax brackets for 2025. The annual income thresholds will increase 2.8% over this year's thresholds, the smallest jump in several years. Economists say the increases are likely to get smaller as inflation continues to cool. Our Pet Vet on Call, up next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, we head to the Outer Banks of North Carolina, where homes are literally falling into the water. Then on KOAM News at 6, an update on construction around Pittsburgh's Block 22 project. Plus, we're going to hear from participants in the Joplin High School effort to teach students a bit about the election. And the Colgan girls golf team brings home a state title. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. As we approach Halloween, you see all sorts of creepy, crawly decor in neighborhoods and stores, some of it bordering on supernatural, some of it not so far from real life. Today, our Pet Vet on Call has a fun fact for us about spiders.
The spider web is actually, the fiber of the spider web is actually 5 times stronger than steel of the same caliber, the same thickness or gauge or whatever you call that. So they have actually been used to make bulletproof clothing, tents, nets, parachutes, even false tendons for people that rip a tendon. So next time you see a spider web, not only do you admire their beauty, but they truly are awe-inspiring.
We invite questions from anyone. If you have a question, you just send it to petvet@koamtv.com. Dr. Eva Dudek from the Parsons Pet Hospital answers a different question or brings us a fun fact every Wednesday right here on KOAM News at 5. You can also find answers to previous questions on our website. All right, let's check out our picks of the litter for the week from the Joplin Humane Society. We have this male shepherd mix puppy. His name is Jude. And from the Southeast Kansas Humane Society, this beautiful female tuxedo kitten. Look at that coat. She's only about 5 months old. She likes to pose and play. If you're looking for a pet, why not check out your local Humane Society? Beautiful animals there, a lot of them already trained, some of them house trained, adapted to homes. Check it out if you're looking for a pet.
Absolutely.
The weather staying warm for a while.
Yeah, in fact, near record highs once again for us tomorrow. Now, we are going to have some clouds in the morning, maybe a random shower during the morning hours, but we could be getting at least some scattered thunderstorms tomorrow night. Out of here by Friday. Looks like a pretty good weekend, and then additional rain chances for us next week, which we need the rain.
Just not on Halloween night, preferably. Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next, and of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.